Alright, welcome
to Inside the Void. I'm here with our guest Kontravoid to discuss a little bit about what it's like being the man behind the mask. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Void.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, what have you been up to? Can you give us an idea of what things have been like for you lately?
I've been trying to stay as true to myself as much as I can, which means constantly staying in character, which leads to usually having to repair my own furniture. I don't mind that much, though. It at least gives me something to do. I've also been stocking up on food for when we get hit with that second wave. It helps me relieve some anxieties I have about the future.
So you must get pretty lonely, but you did mention you do have a dog now. So what's that like?
Yeah, my dog's name is Odin, and he's part husky. I can't let him out of this fenced-off area, or else he'll just run away. Tries to head back to Alaska or wherever he's from. It can also be a bit frustrating since he's only a year old and constantly thinks I'm trying to play with him. The process of trying to get him back inside usually takes about an hour, and by the end of it I'm super exhausted and horribly out of breath.
And what about staying inspired and focused? What have your influences been lately?
Well, I try to distance myself as much as possible from modern technology. I've also been really into playing Extreme G on Nintendo 64. The soundtrack for this game is amazing, so I've basically only been listening to that lately. I named my bike Nitrous, which I thought sounded cool. Spelled with an OU, of course, being Canadian.
So that wraps up our first segment of Inside the Void. Join us next time as we dive deeper into all things void. Okay, and we're back on Inside the Void, not to be confused with Into the Void. Shout out to Mark from Buzzcall. Hope the fishing trip's going well. All right, so Kontravoid, last time we talked a little bit about your routine. Can you explain more about your day-to-day life?
Sure, I have several chickens now. So every day around 6 p.m. I wake up to feed them. The goth ones don't seem to like me that much, which makes sense considering my status in the goth community has always been somewhat uncertain. Then, shortly after that, I mow the lawn. It's important I protect my hearing during this, so I basically can't see or hear anything. But I just go by my own instincts and think I do a fairly decent job. Usually I follow that up by taking care of any unfinished yard work.
So how's your diet been lately? What have you been doing to stay healthy?
I usually cook a low-carb, high-protein meal. Follow that up by trying to burn any ideas I've ever had in the past. I've also tried to lay off the junk food and quit smoking. That's been much harder than I imagined. Being isolated sometimes makes it easy to give in to temptations.
And what do you do for exercise?
At night I chop firewood before the coyotes come out. I can't tell if they actually exist or the sounds are just in my head. Either way, routinely using an axe helps keep my mind alert and my body in shape. I then continue to build a fire, which I look at as a representation of some of my own failures and insecurities. By burning those feelings, it helps me to not focus so much on the darkness, but to learn from the past and to always strive for a better and brighter future. Alright, well there you have it.
Thank you for watching Inside the Void. Thank you to our guest Kontravoid for joining us. I hope this has been educational and entertaining. Until next time, good night.
It's okay. It's because... Here, come towards me. I just talk for like 2 seconds.
Too close to